In this video, I'll talk just briefly about how to use Desmos.com, as you can see in my browser, to do some basic graphing. So when you arrive at Desmos.com, you'll see this page, and you click on this red button here that says Start Graphing, and you will get a fairly simple setup here. You'll have a graph to the right, and you'll have your text input on the left-hand side, and you'll have this keyboard here, which most of the time you can avoid using, but if you're doing this on an iPad or iPhone, then the keyboard can be extremely helpful. So in here you have a few options. So if you, number one, you can open up existing graphs, and whenever you click on Add Item, you can actually select from an expression. So that's if I were about to graph something, or if I'm doing something mathematical, I'll choose the expression option. If I just want to make myself a note as to what I'm doing, I can choose this option. I'm going to generate a table or a folder and an image. These are used not quite as frequently. So let's just plot a simple function. Now you can do this two ways. Let's say I wanted to plot the function 2x plus 3. Well, on my keyboard I can just type 2x plus 3 and I will get a function graphed. Alternatively, if you pull up the keyboard, you can type in 2x plus 3 and you'll get exactly the same function. Okay, you can turn them on and off by actually checking the button over here. So if I want to turn them both off, but I don't want to delete them, then I can turn them off, or I can delete one of them and turn this back on. Now, another cool thing I can do here is if I call this f of x, f parenthesis x close parenthesis equals, then I'll still get the same function, but now I can refer to f of x somewhere else. Whereas if I just call this 2x plus 3 and I want to generate a table of values for 2x plus 3, I actually will not be able to do that unless I give the function a name. So if I call it f of x or g of x or whatever you like, and now I go to insert a table, notice how it calls these x1 and y1, and each time you create a brand new table, it's going to call it x2 and y2, so that the variables don't cross over and there's not a mix and match. So in here, I can actually just type in, okay, some x values, maybe 0, 1, 2, 3, and it'll often pick up your pattern. You start pressing enter, it'll just type in the next number. In here, you're not seeing anything display because you can either type in ordered pairs manually, or I could give it a function for what to put in for y1. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to say f of parenthesis x1. So what that does is it comes over here, grabs this value, and it inputs it into the f of x function and produces the outputs. And as you can see, it's automatically generating the points. And because this bubble is purple, this scatter plot bubble, you can again turn the points on or off, or maybe you just wanted the points on there, you can do that as well. I can also insert more in here. So let's say I inserted another expression and I had f of x equals 2x plus 5, and I want, oops, now it's confused because I've identified f in more than one place. So I've got to give this a different name. I'll call it g of x. And now everything's corrected. And now over here, I'll just click on a new column, and I'm going to do g of x1. And so now what this allows me to do is actually compare the output values for the two functions for a series of x values. So very versatile if you want to generate a table from a function, but again, you need to use the function definition, f of x equals, g of x equals, or whatever you want to name the function. Okay, so I can insert a note. This is a graph of 2x plus 8, and now I can come down here and type in f or h of x equals 2x plus 8, and so that's just a way for me to notate something. It's not going to actually do anything with what I type in here other than just leave it there as a note. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff, or at least uncheck it, so maybe you don't want to delete something, but your graph is getting too busy, so you can uncheck whatever you're not using at the moment. You can actually move this off to the side if you want to work on a bigger screen. The cool feature here is if you click anywhere on the function and hold the left mouse button, and you can scroll up or down, you can actually see what ordered pair you're on. And if you notice these little gray dots here, it will automatically allow you to snap to vertical intercept and snap to horizontal intercept. It's just when you shift the graph and you move it around, it's gonna actually require you to click on those points again. All right. Speaking of which, if you zoom out, what's a very nice feature is that if your vertical intercept is somewhere up high, and you can just really zoom out, or you can press the zoom out button to zoom out as far as you want. Now, if you feel like you've zoomed out too far in one direction, for example, my x value stopped showing outputs at around, I don't know, 15,000 or so. sorry, 150,000. So if you come over here and you press the graph settings button, you can actually change your x-axis range. So if I want to go maybe just from negative 150,000 up to 150,000, then I can fine-tune my graph, and I've got a pretty good, now I've got something that is much more workable and particular to work with. Let's say that what I wanted to do is figure out where two functions intersect. So maybe what I'm going to do now is type in negative x plus 100,000, just for demonstration purposes. And I want to figure out where these two intersect. Well, another interesting cool feature here is that the Desmos allows you to snap to points that are particular points like intersection points. Or maybe I want to ask the question, let me delete that one. Maybe I want to ask the question, when does this linear function exceed 100,000? Well, I can see that it occurs somewhere around here, around 50,000, x equals 50,400, but I want to know exactly where it is. So what I can do in here is I can just type in y equals 100,000. And now what I can do is come over here and click on the intersection point, and it will show me that the exact x value for which the y value of this red graph reaches 100,000 is at x equals 49,998.5. So that's a really cool feature that we'll be able to use a lot more later on. That's really it. If you ever want to kind of get the default zoom back again, then you just press the home button. That'll give you a window that's between negative 10 and 10, and negative 10 and 10 on the x and y axes. And if you go to graph settings, you'll be able to see that, or approximately negative 10 to 10 on the y axis. If you click on projector mode, that will just make things a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to read if you're displaying this on a projector, but nothing you really need to work on there. If you want to duplicate something or convert something to a table, another thing you can do is click on convert to table, and it'll create the table for you. So that's kind of convenient as well. So that's using the edit list button. You can duplicate something if you need to. And what else can you do here? That's predominantly it. Again, you can delete stuff or set values. But that's fairly good for now, and we'll go ahead and stop there. Much more to come later on some pretty cool features of Desmos.